This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Bobby Umar. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I'm doing well, thank you.
It's a great pleasure to connect with you. What part of the world are you in right now, Bobby?
I'm from Toronto, Canada, which is home of the Raptors.
All right. I'm hearing it's cold right now, breathing going on.
It's very cold up here, but we're having finally the first kind of sprinkling of spring, so that's good.
That's wonderful. Well, do tell me, which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history?
Which of my talents? Good question. I would say probably my talent for speaking or my talent for networking, which is kind of the main things that I do with my work. And that's probably what's brought us together.
Oh, that's intriguing. So who did you learn that from, the ability to speak and network? I think there's a high level of confidence in there required, isn't there?
A little bit. I think part of it is being self-aware, and part of it is being good at relating with other people. So having a high emotional intelligence about how you are and how other people behave. And I think over the years, I didn't really train much to do these things. I just kind of noticed that I was good at it. I was always a good connector. I was a good relationship builder. And so networking became a big thing about what I did and what I talked about. And then the speaking thing, kind of the same thing. I spent a lot of years being like a camp counselor and working with young people and being in musical theater and performing. And so, that performance and that leadership of young people and teaching became all part of me becoming a speaker. And so when I finally decided to dive into my personal brand and figure out what I want to do with my life, kind of later in my life, the networking and the speaking thing became a big part of it. And so I just kind of rolled with it.
Is there someone in your family who does something like what you do now?
No, actually, that's funny. I mean, what I can tell you is that my mom and dad were both very social. They were very popular amongst their community, and they would be the ones, like my mother was the one who everyone would call for advice. My dad was the one who was the social jokester at parties. So I think that personality from both of them definitely influenced how I am as a person, as a speaker.
That's amazing. Why will you continue to be that guy, to be that person? It does take some level of energy, doesn't it? Nevertheless, why will you continue to be that person?
Well, I think the reason is because I've taken the time to really understand, what my purpose is and what I want to do. And so now that I've aligned it with my values, my skills, my traits, my interests, I've been doing this for a long time. And before that, I'd worked 4 years as an engineer, and I worked 4 years in brand marketing. I did a couple years in teaching and performance, but I never did anything long term. But now, having found this path and knowing that it aligns with who I am and my values, I've been able to do it for 15 years. Wow. So it keeps me going, for sure.
That's wonderful. Tell us about an award or probably a certificate of appreciation you've received from doing what you're doing.
Sure. I think that the one I love the most actually is being named one of the top 100 leadership speakers by Inc. magazine. And in the list, it was in the same list of people such as Richard Branson and John Maxwell and Brené Brown, people I admire. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So to have that recognition amongst people that I admire myself was pretty fantastic.
Where's the best place for someone that's listening to connect with you?
Best place is on LinkedIn, but if you go on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all the other places, you will find me at Raeallan Bobby. It's the same handle I have everywhere. So I'm pretty prolific everywhere, but LinkedIn's usually the best place to connect with me.
Tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
Wow, good question. I have consistently over the last 3 years spoken somewhere else in the world. So every year there's always some big trip I take. So last year I went to Africa, and then Poland, and there was India, and there was Dubai. And so I've been able to have this big trip planned every single year for the last 3 years, consistently with my speaking business.
How does it make you feel, like when you look back from now to then and see the traveling you've done, the speaking you've done? How does it make you feel?
Oh, very grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity, the chance to have this impact on many people, and also why I spend a lot of time helping other people do the same thing. Because I'm like, man, if I could do this, and I know how to do it, I can help other people do the same thing.
Yeah, Zig Ziglar has a great quote. It's all over the world, right? Help enough other people get what they want, and you will get what you want. Have you seen that to be true as well?
Oh, absolutely. I think a big part of my legacy, which I'm a big believer in, my legacy and story is always going to be about the impact I have on others, and that so it starts with my children. Number one, they're my greatest legacy, but number two, it's going to be the people and the audiences that I serve.
So, just to someone out there, someone that may not have that connection to their own unique real self and doing what strengthens them by helping others as well, suggest to them why they should do what you've done, Bobby.
Well, the truth is, do you want to spend the rest of your time building someone else's dream? Do you want to spend the rest of your life, creating a narrative that doesn't fulfill you or sustain you? Do you want to spend the rest of your life making excuses, or do you want to find a path that aligns with who you are and what you believe in, and at the same time create impact? I think that taking the time to dive into understanding who you are is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Invest in yourself. If not now, when? If not who? If not you, then who? So I highly recommend you do that, because once you forge that path of success and impact and influence and alignment that makes you feel super happy and create a legacy, you want that life to start right away. And so it's so important to do that and just start.
Just start. Amazing audience. Again, you're hearing it live from Bobby Umar. Bobby, let's switch gears for a moment now. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Bobby, what's your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memory? Well, I would say it was probably sitting on the lap of my mother. I remember quite vividly sitting in maybe the living room of our living room and on the sofa, and she had her hands clasped around my stomach, and I was sitting with her, snuggling with her, and she was either watching something or she was talking to people. I remember sun on my face was coming through the window, but I just remember it being a very warm, comfortable place with friends and family.
How old do you think you were?
Probably maybe three or four, something like that.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
Well, I think that it reminds me of the fact that I'm really big on the power of connection. And I think that it reminds me of family, it reminds me of friendship, it reminds me of just feeling comfortable and feeling safe. And a lot of what I do in my work is about being vulnerable and helping people feel vulnerable with me. And I create that deep connection with them. And heck, I love snuggling, so that's still with me to this very day.
Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind with that memory?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, please. Well, can I?
No, sorry. You had a memory, or you want me to carry on?
No, can I offer an interpretation to the thought
please.
picture? Yeah, I love the concept. And funny enough, the conversation before you had a similar interpretation, which I love, which is to add to what you said, the transportation that's happening by communication, by relationship, which is your mother is as well rocking you in that chair, something that you possibly could have done, but isn't as easy because she's taking and lightening that load, right? By doing that succinctly, as you are enjoying the sun that's coming through and the warmth of her love, which is very, very much a beautiful picture in my mind.
I love that. That's great.
If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Well, there was a couple, but the ones that come to my mind were Africa by Toto. I just love the orchestration and musicianship as well as the lyrics. And then I was a really big fan of Come On Eileen by Dexys Midnight Runners, because it was just kind of fun and silly, and just a time when I was idealistic and free and just having a ton of fun in my life.
Love it. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Bobby?
I am ready.
Bobby, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Sure.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yes.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
I'd say less.
What about reading? How often do you read?
Every night.
Bobby, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Bobby Umar, what would you say that is?
I think my statement of who I am is taking the time to invest in myself, to be who I am, and to create a legacy for myself and others.
Love it. Bobby, this has been such a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
The main thing I'll share with people is I love connections. So if you want to connect with me and see what I'm doing and how I can help people, you can check out all my links and just Google me. I'm everywhere. So I love connecting, I love hearing from people, and I'm on a mission to help as many people as I can. So if you look at my different links, you'll see exactly how I'm doing that for people, and I'd love to join with other people.
There we go. Bobby Umar, thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.